Hey there everybody, welcome to my video about the various kinds of statements that we're using this year in geometry. Now, the other day I found myself through a game of solitaire and I'm bravely moving some cards around and I'm really bad at solitaire. Teaching myself. Now the first thing we're going to learn about is if-then statements. You'll see here, if I have, and then I have. Now you can ignore the I have part. That's not very relevant, but this is called an if-then statement. I'm going to flip over a couple cards here. If I have the ace of clubs, then I have the five of hearts. Now, this is a conditional statement. This is always true because it has been stated to be so. That five of hearts there that's attached to the then, that is the conclusion, and the ace of clubs, that is the hypothesis. It is attached to the if. Now we're going to move on to the next kind of statement here up in a second. We are going to flip the spots of the five of hearts and the ace of clubs. Now, this is essentially moving the hypothesis to where the conclusion was, and vice versa. While this doesn't actually move the names, it's just moving where the various things were. So this is called the converse. Now we're going to go ahead and move the two cards back to where they were in the beginning. And then we're going to negate if and then. If I don't have the ace of clubs, then I don't have the five of hearts. This is the inverse. We have inverted all of the if and then parts and made it negative. Now we're going to look at the contrapositive. This one is a combination of inverse and converse. So let's look back at those two so we can figure out a little bit about the contrapositive. So first here, we're going to go back to the converse. So we've been over this before. You flip the hypothesis and the conclusion. Now we're going to go to the inverse, but we're not going to put the two back to where they originally belonged. Now that these two are combined, we have the contrapositive. And those are your four various forms. As you can see, it says both don't, and the cards have been flipped, so it is a combination of the two and is the contrapositive. So let's go over all of these one quick time. We saw the contrapositive there. The inverse, we move the cards back to their original position and we negate if and then. That is the inverse. The converse, we negate the negation and we wind up with if I have the ace of clubs, then I have the five of hearts, and now we're going to move on back. Moving them back to where we started. If I have the ace of clubs, then I have the five of hearts. Label them again, conclusion and hypothesis. And our final starting phrase, our if-then statement. If and then.